Genesis chapter 27, verse 29. Let the people serve you, and nations bow down to you. Be Lord over the brethren, and let your mother's sons bow down to you. Cursed be everyone who curses you, and blessed be he who blesses you. Notes, and there's quite a few of them. This part of the blessing points to Christ, who would be in the lineage of Jacob. God did not need the aid of such elements as Rebekah's cunning and Jacob's blatant and gross deceit in order to accomplish his purpose. He had said that the elder shall serve the younger, and that was enough. Enough for faith, but not enough for self-will, which must ever adopt its own way and, as stated, know nothing of what it is to wait on God. I know it's very painful, but you do have to do waiting on the Lord. And sometimes that could be 10, 15, 20, or even 30 years. It's painful, but it's always, always worth it. Verse 30. And it came to pass, as soon as Isaac had made an end of blessing Jacob, and Jacob was yet scarce gone out from the presence of Isaac his father, that Esau his brother came in from his hunting. And he also had made savory meat, and brought it unto his father, and said unto his father, Let my father arise, and eat of his son's venison, that your soul may bless me. Notes, even though Jacob had tried to obtain the birthright by having Esau sell it to him, it is obvious here that Esau did not recognize what had just transpired. Verse 32. And Isaac his father said unto him, Who are you? And he said, I am your son, your firstborn Esau. Notes, Esau represents those in the church who would walk the path of self-will. Jacob represents those who know the path of faith but would leave that path and suffer greatly. Isaac represents those who are in the positions of leadership and know so little of the mind of God that they would give the birthright to the devil instead of to Christ himself. Verse 33. And Isaac trembled very exceedingly. Notes, he trembled exceedingly at what he had almost done in giving the birthright to Esau, considering that he had been told by God at the same time of Jacob's birth that Jacob was to possess the birthright. He trembles exceedingly under a just fear. This fear brings him back into the path of faith, and directly he returns to that path, and he steps from self-will finally to a shred of dignity. Scripture. And said, Where is he who has taken the venison and brought it to me, and I have eaten of all before you came, and have blessed him? Yes, and he shall be blessed. Notes, the will of the flesh made Isaac wish to bless Esau, but faith in the end conquered. You can read a little bit more in Hebrews chapter 11, verse 20. And he cries respecting Jacob, I have blessed him, and he shall be blessed. That blessing has passed. It's going where it's going to go. Verse 34. And when Esau heard the words of his father, he cried with a great and exceedingly bitter cry, and said unto his father, Bless me, even me also, O my father. Notes, now, it's pretty obvious that Esau just wanted the material part of the blessing and had no regard whatsoever for the spiritual part. Unfortunately, far too many in the modern church follow the same path of material possessions. And Jesus said so in Revelation chapter 3, verse 17. And Isaac said, Your brother came with subtlety and has taken away your blessing. Notes, the birthright normally belonged to the firstborn, which Esau here claims. However, it had been promised to Jacob by the Lord way back in 25:23. However, this gave Jacob no right whatsoever to practice deceit. And Esau said, Scripture, and he who was Esau said, Is not he rightly named Jacob? For he has supplanted me these 2 times. He took away my birthright, and behold, now he has taken away my blessing. And he said, Have you not reserved a blessing for me? Notes, first of of all, the blessing went with the birthright. As well, only one son could inherit the spiritual prerogatives of the birthright and the temporal lordship which actually accompanied it. Verse 37, And Isaac answered and said unto Esau, Behold, I have made him your lord, and all his brethren have I given to him for servants. And with corn and wine have I sustained him. And what shall I do now unto you, my son? Notes, in other words, there is no more blessing, and rightfully so. All blessing comes in and through Christ and what he did at the cross, and Esau had no regard for any of those things. Millions want the blessing, but not Christ. And I'm going to tell you flat out that such cannot be. Verse 38. And Esau said unto his father, Have you but one blessing, my father? Bless me even also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. Notes, however, once again we reiterate, his remorse was not for the true blessing, but only for the material benefits. And how sad. Verse 39. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, your dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth and of the dew of heaven from above. Notes. Now, most expositors consider that the preposition of should be translated from, and thus it would read, Behold, your dwelling shall be away from the fat places of the earth, and away from the dew of heaven from above, and by your sword you shall live. And you know what? I actually agree with them because, well, that blessing passed. I mean, it's out of Esau's hands and into someone else's. Verse 40. And by your sword you shall live. Notes, and you can definitely tell this, they have been and are a very violent people. Scripture. And you shall serve your brother. Notes, the Edomites were the descendants of Esau, and they served Israel for nearly 900 years. Scripture. And it shall come to pass, when you shall have the dominion, that you shall break his yoke from off your neck. Notes, in the first days of Joram and then of Ahaz, Edom revolted and recovered its freedom exactly as Isaac had prophesied. So in reality, there was no blessing for Esau, as there can be no blessing for those who demean Christ and the price that he has paid for man's redemption. I mean, it's just not going to work. And you must understand that these people did not have Christ, but they did have things that represented him very, very greatly. And to reject those things actually meant that in a way you were rejecting him. And such cannot be. It's going to hurt you. Verse 41. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father had blessed him. Notes, despite the deception, Esau had no cause to actually hate Jacob. He knew that the prophecy had given the birthright to Jacob. As well, he knew that his profligate lifestyle did not warrant such. He had no desire to be the priest of the family, and in fact had no desire for the things of God whatsoever. So his hatred is only fueled by ungodliness and not by any wrongdoing. I mean, that was just it. Scripture. And Esau said in his heart, The days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I kill my brother Jacob. Notes, the flesh always tries to kill that which is of the Spirit. Get that in your head. It never fails to happen. We'll have to continue at Genesis chapter 27, verse 42. Thank you.